Okay, we are being recorded.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen to you. I actually have a 3D model put together here just to better illustrate what I'm going to talk about.
Dave, can you turn your volume up just a little bit?
Sure. Try to sit a little closer too. Maybe it'll pick me up better. All right, it's up as high as it's going to go. I don't know if that made a difference.
A little bit.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Okay, so screen share. Okay, let me know when you see a kitchen.
You see it.
Yep, got it.
All right. All right, so this kitchen, this is actually a job that we produced, but it's just one that is a good example of how modern simplicity can come together. As Phil mentioned, I'm going to drop into just one cabinet here just to have one cabinet to spin around and look at.
Now, is this what you guys do when you during the processing?
Yeah, this is our manufacturing software. This is Cabinet Vision. I don't know if you're familiar with the name or the program, but it's
Basically like our 2020.
kind of it's a little stronger towards
Better.
manufacturing and a little less strong towards design and rendering. It does show colored renderings and wood grains, but as far as the realistic renders, I personally haven't been able to get it to look quite as good.
Okay.
But for manufacturing, it's very powerful. As I scroll this model and you see all those holes, those are actual machine commands. So that when we output this to the shop, this goes to our CNC equipment, you know, at the click of a button.
That's crazy.
And that's actually what will be
Yeah,
there.
and that's
Placement and everything. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the advantage with this software for us internally, is that this actually shows the box exactly how we're going to make it, including
Nice.
every dowel hole is where it's going to be when it comes off the machine.
Wow.
So it's really powerful in that sense. It's a great design tool too. Comparable to some of the others out there that show the really realistic photo renderings. I can't say Cabinet Vision doesn't do it, but I personally haven't been able to get it to. I can get it pretty good. But modern simplicity, as Phil mentioned, the cabinet box does not go through finishing at all. Now this 3D render here does not show the cabinet the way you would see it if this were modern simplicity. This side here would be the interior color of the cabinet. So whatever you choose, if it's a maple veneer, walnut veneer, or any of the melamine colors, you would see that inside and out on the cabinet. The edge on the front of the cabinet, I'll try to zoom in here. Again, this render is not showing it accurately, but this edge band can be either match the interior. You know, if you want to open the doors of your cabinet and just see all one color on the interior, it can be that, or we can choose a PVC edge band that has a wood grain or a color to it that's either similar or complementary to the finish of your job. And I actually have a couple.
You're talking about the side panel of the box, the front of that.
The front edge of the box. So the front of your top board, your bottom board, your sides. That edge band.
Okay.
You don't see a whole lot of it, you know, until you open the doors.
Until you open it. Okay.
So you can choose, you know, do you want to see the same colors you see on the interior? So, you know, if it's a maple veneer, you might just do a maple veneer edge band.
Gotcha.
Some people get concerned with, you know, you look between the door gaps, you might see that maple, it might pop against a dark color. So that a better choice then might be to use a PVC edge that's a little closer in color.
Gotcha.
I've got a couple here. I'm going to switch back to my camera briefly and show you a couple examples. Best I can here against my camera. But I grabbed a couple samples out of our sample kit. This is our black oak shown on ash. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my filter off because that's messing up the colors.
Yeah, and it kind of like
let me
see it.
Where's the thing at here? All right, now you can see my messy office.
Nice.
Where the magic happens.
There you go. So, all right, so this is our black ash on oak. It's a ceruse finish. It's got the white glazing in the over top of black stain. But I might choose this PVC edge band to go with it. Okay. So you don't have the white glazing to it, but it's still a wood grain, and it's sort of dark in color. And if you have the doors out in front of that, it's probably
right. You're never going to know.
Still pretty pleasing.
Right.
Yeah.
Another example that's not quite as close to a match, but probably still in the ballpark would be this. This is Juniper. This is one of our oak colors. And this is really coming through funny on the camera. It looks better in reality. This is coming very.
I like those even like as complementary.
Yeah.
But
in reality, this doesn't look so gray. I don't know why the camera's picking it up that way.
You're right.
It's weird. But anyway, these are close, but they're not great. But I mean, if I were putting this in my own home, I wouldn't be upset by it. It's a pretty
Right.
close match.
And then as far as white, you could just do like a white PVC.
Yeah, white, and there's a lot of good PVC options for solid colors. Even, you know, if you're going with a gloss paint, there's gloss white PVC edges we can get. So
Okay.
depending on the shade of white you have in gloss, you might not even be able to tell the difference between
Right.
PVC and the real thing.
Mhm.
You know, switch
Are there
back to-
cost differences if you're trying to match, or is that all considered,
There'll be a small fee for the roll of edge band.
but nothing crazy?
No, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not terribly expensive.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to my 3D model here. So yeah, your front edge, you can pick your color, you know, whatever it is you choose. Other than that, the rest of your case is all matching the interior. So there's a few ways to sort of hide that and decorate that. If you have finished ends, the easy answer is just an applied end panel. And that can be of the same shape at the door or just a plain plywood panel, or an end column or whatever it might be. If you're next to an appliance, you probably want to take a closer look at the appliance in reality in the showroom and see how much of that end does the appliance actually cover. In many cases, the dishwashers especially cover the whole thing. And so seeing the maple there, yeah, when you open the dishwasher door, you might see a thin line of maple, but when you're looking at the kitchen with all the doors closed, it's not too bad.
Okay.
It's not offensive.
No, it's not offensive.
Mike 238, Mike 238, please.
And in some cases, we've done a couple jobs like this, and some of the feedback I've gotten from the dealers is that they just simply take a spray can and black out that area. You know, they'll tape it off and just, you know, it's not looking for any high end or perfect finish, but just something to black it out and make
Yeah.
it go away.
Makes sense.
Do you have the option of doing like a white melamine exterior?
Yeah. Yeah.
With but it has to match the interior, correct?
Yeah, whatever you see in the interior, you're going to see in the exterior.
Okay.
So if it's a white melamine interior, you'll have the white exterior, unless there's something specific you're looking for and we can find a supplier that has it.
Okay.
That can always be an option. But generally speaking, it is going to be two-sided material.
Okay.
Actually, while I have this model open, something else I've been pushing a lot and a lot with Modern Simplicity jobs is the leveling legs on the bottom.
Yeah, that's great.
Recently started using Hayfla's leveling legs. I don't know if you're familiar with theirs. I think I have one right behind me here. Give me a second. Switch back to my camera again, but Hayfla came up with these. Look like this. They're a little bigger than the ones we used to use. I'm not sure what you might be familiar with, but the toe kick clips on using this hardware. But what I love about this is there's a tool we actually send. It's about 2 feet long that kind of clips in, and then you turn a handle back here to raise and lower your cabinet.
Ah,
You don't actually your
makes it
installer doesn't have
much
to-
easier.
It doesn't have to
Yeah,
land
yeah,
on the floor, reach underneath.
Do you have a lot of
Huh.
clients doing that now?
More and more. It's
More.
yeah. We haven't pushed them up until this year. This one, I think this has been out for a while, but our sales rep recently introduced it to us.
Yeah.
And
I don't know why
yeah.
we're seeing more and more unlevel floors.
Yeah. But every
Yeah, it's-
dealer
yeah.
using them, just yeah, they love them.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the finished ends, nothing else is different about the cabinet box. We're using the same amount of dowels, the same procedure for gluing it up. You're getting the same rock solid cabinet that is never going to come apart.
Okay.
Same warranties, there's
Yep.
nothing. It's just really the finish detail.
It's really just a matter
Basically.
of trying to hide those finished ends. The other thing that comes to mind with hiding that is the upper cabinets. You always have the underside of the upper cabinets to deal with.
Mhm.
And so one thing that we're allowing in the Modern Simplicity series is the extend door down option to create a light valance. There's usually a small upcharge for that. That is a free upgrade in Modern Simplicity up to 1.5 inches tall.
Okay.
Now you do have to buy any apron stock that you want to put in to fill that void. Actually, I just realized now I stopped my screen share. Let me go back to that.
And what about any cabinets that you would want a finished bottom because it's in a bar area or something where it has an
Yeah,
open
the
shelf
the
below it
only-
or something?
only way to achieve it is to put something on top of the cabinet. The cabinet box itself won't have the finish. So this design actually has something in place. That this dealer wanted frameless lighting assembly underneath. Let me go into a cross section view so you can see it. Just gonna back up here. So if I zoom in here, we did the recessed bottom.
Yep.
And then this was an assembly we came up with where it's got a hardwood front edge, this small 3-inch return here that has the LED lighting routed into it. And then there's an outer layer that goes all the way to the back.
So which is like 3/4, a 3/4 panel
Two
for
layers
whatever
of
depth.
3/4, and we've created this void here now that he could run all of his wires,
Wiring and
seamlessly to
whatnot.
all the lights.
That's smart.
Yeah.
These were just
Yeah.
applied, they hung the cabinets. I think he told me he actually screwed them from the inside down into the install cleats, but you could use a finished screw on the bottom if that
Because it's
works
going
for
to be
the customer.
hidden, right?
Yeah. But yeah, this is a really good option. If you don't want this light channel to pocket, you could just do a simple apron and a simple 1/4-inch panel if you weren't going to do
Right.
the lighting assembly. So
Mhm.
there's some
Right.
ways to
Okay.
hide it, but it's got to be loose pieces.
Okay.
The big savings for us manufacturing wise is that we're only flatline spraying parts. And that's what
Gotcha.
enables us to get it to such a price point thing. And it's
Makes sense.
just a couple accommodations you have to make to get there.
And the
So if
price
you were
savings
going-
can be significant. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
talking about a hand buff tie Sheen,
Yeah, I
with
actually
60,
have this.
70% premium, it's
I
a
actually
lot
have
of
this
money.
job here.
Yeah.
I can show you a model of this job. Let me change my screen share here. Okay, can you see the ordering system?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, if I go into my job standards, right now it's set for modern simplicity. I'm gonna put the frameless label. We'll start with the big number first. So if we did a standard frameless, this is a white high gloss finish. And then I go to view my report.
Like, do you know that address?
Wait, where is it? Where is it? I missed it.
Scuttlebutt Farm Lane.
Oh, yeah, that's close. I'm gonna Google it.
Go see it.
Okay. When's it going in?
Not liking me. This is one we've already produced.
Ah, all right. All right, I'll go hunt it down, Madison.
Actually, I have to reopen it. This thing's hung up. I can't get it to work. I mean,
It's like 2020.
I know.
hey, it happens.
Is it showing it as a job or a quote?
It's neither. I broke it free. I saved the file and reopened it. It's,
Have either of you worked with the pricing software at all?
I've tried. I just haven't been able to find the time really,
Mhm.
because a lot of the work we do isn't this custom, so I can do 2020 fairly quickly. So yeah.
And I rely on Madison, so it's a no for me. I just said,
I haven't reopened it. Are you seeing my ordering system? Is it? You can see it on your own?
Yes,
Okay.
we see it.
Yeah, so this is the frameless elite. This means we have painted edges, we've got painted finished ends, all that. You can see it's a 60% finish, so that's a $13,000 premium added to this order for that finish. And we have an end number of 33,489. So remember that number. I'm gonna go back and change this over.
Write it down.
If I change my construction to modern simplicity. Good there. Okay, so modern simplicity, our end number is 25,410.
versus.
So that's like at an 8,000,
33,489.
right?
Yeah, so it's like an $8,000 difference.
Yeah.
Pretty significant. If we look at the second to last page, we'll show you how we got there. Basically, all the values associated with your cabinet case, anything that's not going through our finish department goes into this extra category we have here. In the Frameless Elite version, you have numbers down in this box, and this is blank, and it kind of switches roles when you go modern simplicity. And now you can see none of the premiums have been attached to the cabinet cases. And in fact, with the modern simplicity, we actually apply a 10% discount to the cabinet cases.
Oh,
So you're dropping another 2,000 just because we're not having to finish cabinets.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty significant difference, and that the amount of that savings really varies depending on the finish. This is actually a really good vehicle for those expensive finishes that otherwise drive up cost.
Hey,
Right.
Dave, do it in melamine.
What's that?
Do it in melamine.
Okay, sure.
So this is plywood.
This was a cost comparison using plywood. So we go to the job window here and we find melamine.
I would love to try out those leveling legs.
that's definitely, yeah.
They're great.
Do them on inset also? Any
Yeah,
cap?
it's a little tricky in inset because the floor of your cabinet sits up so high, but there's ways to do it and there's advantages to it.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen floor differences anywhere from a half to an inch and a half, 2-inch difference,
I know.
and really cause major problems.
Yeah. And one of the common misconceptions with leg levelers is that people tend to think that you have to have a recessed toe on your finish ends to accommodate them. You actually don't. You put the leg leveler in. I often recommend extending the cabinet side maybe an inch lower than your finished height. And what you do is you slide your cabinet in place,
Mhm.
use the leveling legs to raise it above where you need it, and then mark off the floor on that finished end where you want to cut. Make your cut and then use the legs to lower it to the floor. Actually makes install really a snap.
Yeah.
We don't care about install.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Really kidding, people.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's in as melamine. So with melamine, we got the 10% discount on the cabinetry, but we also have a 18% discount on the cabinetry due to the material. Now when we switch to modern simplicity, it's totally changing how we crunch our numbers for end pricing. Prior to this system coming out, if you change material, you would see a different multiplier on the second to last page. We've revamped the system. This multiplier stays the same. So this multiplier, no matter what you select on the previous pages, is the same. And that's just our number that we use to control your discount as a dealer. And what we've done then is we've created premiums or discounts that relate to the individual elements. So if you select a maple melamine, you'll get an 18% discount based on the material. Plywood was sort of our baseline. So if you go plywood right now, it's a 0% premium. There's no discount or premium to it. That was our baseline with our pricing. If you were to go with a walnut interior, that would be a premium then. I forget what the number is. I think it's like 7 or 8%, I think.
Is a melamine an MDF?
It's a particle core. So MDF and melamine are both forms of particle core. MDF is a much finer grind, much tighter press. Become a part.
Which is what your panels that's what the panels of like any flat panel is made out of.
Like a door.
Yeah, we use it for the flat panels of a wood door. We also have the 2-piece MDF door where the entire door is MDF.
Mhm.
So that's not the same material as used as in the box, right?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, the particle board associated with melamine, if you slice it in half, it's a lot thicker chunks sort of make up that particle core. They're both forms of press board. They come from recycled ground down materials, wood.
Yep.
Just I think melamine, they grind it closer to a powder, whereas not melamine, MDF is ground really fine, probably closer to a powder, where particle board is more like chips.
And then a marine, what do they call it? Marine core MDF, marine grade MDF. Have you heard of marine grade MDF?
Heard the term. there's a couple terms I've heard associated with MDF. The MDF we purchase is a double refined. They double refine the particles, and then they're pressed a lot tighter than the lesser quality MDFs. And the advantage for us in that is that when we finish the edges, they're not so porous. If you take a
Right.
inexpensive,
sense.
lesser quality MDF and you put a profile on an edge, it takes tons of paint to fill it in. You can
Right.
eventually fill it in if you keep going over it and sanding it, and it's very labor intense, and it's not as good a quality.
Got it.
Gotcha.
So we're
Okay.
purchasing a double refined board that can paint just as quickly as wood.
I did have a random unrelated question, just about like doing the hand buffed sheen on an apron channel door. Is it hard to buff like the crevice of the
Channel.
channel?
Usually with an apron channel, again, apron channel is a pretty good, Modern Simplicity is a pretty good vehicle for that. Let me see if I can switch back to my model. I don't think I have any apron on this, but if you go Modern Simplicity, the front edge of the cabinet doesn't get buffed at all, and then we would just buff the apron channel, which is the only part that's visible between the cabinet, between the doors.
Right.
So yeah, that if it's a flat apron channel, that's not difficult to buff. If we do like a C-shaped apron, or it's actually like a C channel, that we can't buff at all. That our buffer will burn through all the outside corners of the shape.
Got it. I wonder what I'm thinking of. Like, so we did a job like where the door, I don't know like the terms with apron channels, but the door like has like a lip on it, kind of
Okay.
Is it angled or curved?
curved, and like
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. So let me find a cabinet here so I can draw on it.
like the apron channel, I guess, is on the cabinet. Like as far as the doors, it's like a
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is probably shaped.
yeah.
That didn't go as planned. Hold on a second.
Yeah, but I saw what you meant.
You're talking about a shape like this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So this area we can't buff. So if it's a hand buff job, we'll have sort of
Got it.
radius and over sanded edges. So that'll allow us to hand buff the face. But when you get back to this finger channel, it's not buffed. It's
Okay. That's fine. And I always
That makes
wondered that
sense.
you quoted it, I think like twice now, and I wondered how you buffed the inside of that.
yeah.
Now I
We
know.
kind of use two terms for that. Apron channel, quote unquote apron channel, will be a flat apron on the cabinet.
Okay.
And then the finger pull is placed on the door in some way. It might be a cove shape like this. It might just be a bevel.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a metal. There's a metal finger pull we've attached to some doors that's a pretty attractive thing depending on your design. The other channel option is what we would refer to as C channel, and that's the option you want to use if modifying this door is not an option. If you get a lot of the laminate doors, we can't put that cove route into because we don't have a means of finishing it off after we machine
Right.
it. And so
Okay.
that's when there's a C shape created into the cabinet. And we do have a wood version of that C channel, and then there's a number of nice metal options out there as well.
Okay.
Where does
Either
the metal
way-
go on to? Sorry.
Pardon me?
Where does the metal go?
If it's a metal channel, this mid stretcher will go away, and the metal just bridges between the cabinet sides, well, not between, but end to end on the cabinet, and there's clips that attach it to the inner cabinet walls.
So you kind of see it between every door and
Yep.
door.
Well, no, it's something the installer puts in on site. We cut the cabinet sides into a C shape,
Mhm.
and then the installer will run one full length cabinet to cabinet, so it's continuous.
So it looks continuous.
Yep. But
Now
the
I
way
get
it
it.
fastens to the
Okay.
cabinet, there's like an L-shaped bracket that fastens to the inner wall of the cabinet into the back of the C shape.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Now I know. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Just wondered.
But again, all the C channel, apron channel options are both great for Modern Simplicity because the only part you really see is between doors, and that's where your C channel's at, and that part's finished.
Cool.
Oh, I guess. So then that metal go, I get it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Seeing that front helped
Yeah.
a lot.
Your other cabinet edges that are
I
behind
was
it-
smiling and nodding there for a
Yeah.
moment. It's like, so now I get it. I get
Yep.
it.
The other cabinet edges that are behind the fronts are just PVC if it's Modern Simplicity,
Right.
or they're painted if it's a Frameless Elite.
Gotcha.
Any questions on the cabinet box so far?
I don't think
Nope.
so. I think it's pretty straightforward, just 3/4 sides and could edge band and PVC and call it a
Good
day.
to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every job's really unique. You just got to find creative ways to hide that cabinet side. I mean, other than that, it's there's nothing about it that's less in quality. That's a
Right.
real important part. It's not something you want to try to sell as a lesser quality thing, but it's a less expensive alternative to still getting a good quality cabinet.
Do people, because you have those like 3/4, for instance, on this design, you would have it probably on the wall cabinet between like the ones that are shorter.
Yeah, this particular job that I'm using as my example actually didn't
Yeah.
sell in Modern Simplicity. This one is Frameless Elite. So
Okay.
there are some elements in this particular design that are not applicable, but where you have two cabinets jogged like that, you would have to have panels separating them.
Right, because I think that's what I just quoted, but I'm wondering, like, just design wise, do people then add panels on places that don't actually need them for like kind of balance?
Balance.
Yes, yeah.
And then when the panels are on it, is it actually a true 3/4 or is it like a 7/8 or?
Usually, typically 3/4. It can be whatever you want. If for some reason you want, maybe 1.5 inches, just for a design element, you certainly can.
Okay,
But yeah, if I were to put a 3/4 panel here, I might consider putting one also on this side just to keep things symmetrical.
right. Okay.
The other thing you can do is that panel you can actually conceal behind the doors in some cases. In the case of a base cabinet, if you end your run with a drawer base, we can extend
Make your
drawer
drawers.
beyond the cabinet and hide the
Right.
front edge of that panel that way. And for your uppers, if you're able to use a tilt-up door, we can overlap and the door can tilt up just fine. We can recess the cabinet side in.
Okay, that's good to know too. But that wouldn't work for like a right hinge door with a right side panel.
No, there is
So
one
when-
hinge. There's one hinge I was actually just recently introduced to that I have not yet put on a mock-up. So I don't know 100% that it works, but I think it does. But Blum does have a hinge that will allow 1.5 inch thick side, which would mean you could have a 3/4 side with a 3/4 end panel, and the door would still cover it. The one thing I noticed on the spec sheet is that the door can't exceed 3/4 of an inch thick. So that would eliminate any 5/4 options for that door.
Right.
Again, I've only seen this hinge in a catalog. I have not actually tried it, but I do think there is one out there that would work if you're working with a 4/4 door.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
I'm trying to think, there's anything else I missed. Phil, can you think of anything?
No, I think you touched on it. The design has a lot to do with whether it should be Modern Simplicity or Frameless Elite.
Mhm.
Depending on the finished ends and the particular design details, you just have to watch out.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I
Pretty
think the premiums have the most driving force towards Modern Simplicity, especially, for paints and high gloss paints and non-buffed high sheen paints.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer that the compromise that you make, with panels on the end or doors on the end, you're talking a significant amount of savings. I think you just adjust to it. And if in your sales presentation, you say all the European cabinet companies, I don't care which one it is, that's how they do it.
Right.
It's just the way it's built.
Yeah.
The difference is the quality of the construction of our boxes is a zillion times better than any of the foreign cabinet companies.
Yeah.
They just slap them together, the boxes. They call them carcasses. They don't call them boxes.
And there you go. That's all we need to say is carcass.
That's right. That's how they regard it. So,
One more question. Quality wise, or maybe it's not quality, but preference. Would you rather do an acrylic door, like outsourced, or a hand buffed?
Go. You're right.
outdoors? Did you?
No, indoors. But like, if I was quoting
Outsource it
the
versus
white shiny door, would you prefer like is it just preference, an acrylic versus a
Yeah,
hand buffed?
it's really a preference. There's probably pros and cons to both, and I'm trying to think of what they are.
Yeah.
They're both good products. They're both.
I can tell you what the
Uh,
pros for our paint is.
Mhm.
You're not going to have the long lead times.
Yeah.
That you're going to have with the acrylic doors.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good
Right.
one.
The high sheen acrylic doors are extremely popular because very few companies actually do the buffed high sheen finishes.
Mm.
And so there's a flood on that market. And,
Right.
you can get the high sheen paint. It's probably But it would, what did you say, it's 8 to 12% more than the acrylic doors, something like that?
I think Rochelle told me that. Yeah. That makes sense too, I guess, because
I mean, the other big advantage with the paint is that you can color match. It's your acrylic, you
True.
go into whatever library the manufacturer has, whereas the paints
Mm-hmm.
Which
we
is
can
great.
adjust.
right.
Yeah,
And
that's a
anyone
great-
just get, we could even get like an acrylic door from our stock cabinet line, but not everyone can get a hand buffed.
Yeah.
Or
That's very
In
true.
their own custom color.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
Dave, do you
Cool.
have that photo from Blue Arnold for that contemporary kitchen with the ceiling shelf or the ceiling piece? That one,
I
anyone?
don't think I do. Yeah, I don't think I do.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Sounds interesting.
I'm not 100% sure. I know which one you're talking about. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, there were
smiling
three
and nodding
kitchens,
too.
there were 3 jobs that he won in the NKVA.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I might have that.
Yeah.
I have to open up my email here.
Because that would be a spectacular kitchen to see.
You guys get a lot of pictures of your finished kitchens from your dealers?
Yep.
Yeah, we don't get enough.
I know, that's what I.
Neither
need
do
to
we.
send us more. That's the one thing I hate that I don't see is the finished kitchen.
How long ago did you think you forwarded that to me, Phil?
Oh, boy. Can't be more than a month.
Okay. Wait a second here.
Phil, how's Florida treating you?
Couldn't be any better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's so different than being up there.
Yeah.
The 80–90% of it is better. There's no real sense of urgency down here if you want to get something done. The contractors work from 9 to 4, 9 to 5. Don't try to get them here at 7. It's not going to happen.
know.
No. Beyond that one element, everything else is great. There's no,
Yeah.
we moved a year ago, and from the time we came down there, we had no restrictions for going out to eat, going shopping. Pretty much we
Right.
could do anything and everything we wanted to do. And the numbers down here for COVID are very, very, very positive.
Yeah.
And where I live in the villages, it's they call it the bubble because it's its own world. It truly is its own world, and the numbers within the villages
Mhm.
are so low, it's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Do they have like their own shopping and everything
Everything.
within?
They have we have our own shopping. They have like 6 town squares.
Huh.
If you play golf, we have more golf courses than any other place in the world. And most people do most of their driving in golf carts.
I was just going to ask that.
Yes, and it has its own highway system for golf carts.
That is awesome. That's
Do you,
interesting,
are
actually.
there other golf cart races? No.
Actually, there's golf cart races and there's golf cart like drill teams. You know, where they do the
Nice.
weaving in and out. And
Yeah.
precision driving.
They
and
do
things
that
like
with horses too.
Yeah, and they have people who come up with the craziest custom golf carts.
I was going to ask. That's a
a
good thing.
neighbor
Oh my God.
took delivery of a new golf cart. He made it look like a Peterbilt truck. And I mean, it looks exactly like the truck with the 4 wheels in the back, the same grill, the same front end.
Oh my
And
gosh.
you look at it, and it looks like a Matchbox version of a big trailer, tractor trailer kind of thing. It's incredible.
That's
but they have-
fantastic.
They have Mercedes, Cadillac Escalades, 57 Chevys, Corvettes, BMW.
Oh
You
my
can
God.
get it made into anything you want.
Do they have car shows?
I know.
Cart
golf
shows? Do they have golf
cart-
cart shows?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it's
That is
and parades.
fantastic.
They have a lot of golf cart parades.
That is fantastic.
The old people will.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
this is the one. Yeah, you found it.
Sorry to cut you off there, Phil.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
That is
That is
pretty
such a
cool.
beautiful kitchen.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
So is the wood section hand buffed?
Yeah.
Or is that?
No, wait, the wood. No, the wood section was not. Just the
White.
refrigerator. I
Mhm.
think this is refrigerators or pantries. But we did this huge flyover panel here. This was a challenge.
Oh my gosh, you guys did that.
Yeah,
That is fantastic.
this took a little bit of back and forth. Each segment we produced individually, but they all looked great and passed inspection individually. But once they got them in place, there were some challenges getting them aligned, and it really took some back and forth
Oh
between
my gosh.
the factory and there to
I
get
can
everything
imagine. Sure.
looking perfect. But in the end, it really looked spectacular.
It's so cool.
What is the finish on the wall cabinets, the wood wall cabinets?
I think these are actually metal doors with an insert, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
See it, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you guys make that like bottom portion of the hood in the
Stainless?
metal? Or
I don't recall. I don't think we did. I think we just have the upper portion, but
Got it.
I'm not 100% on that.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Ta-da!
Ah. And there's Madison. Yay.
Alrighty, well, I think that's it unless there's anything else. But I don't
If you
think
have
I
any
have-
questions for us, you have our attention, so.
Yeah, I think I asked everything that I
Yeah,
and so
I think I ditto.
yeah,
Okay,
good.
well,
Well,
thank you.
very
It was,
much.
very
Yeah.
Nice to meet with you
Yeah.
Nice to meet
and
you
to
both.
get to see faces.
Nice to
go
meet
with
y'all.
names. Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy Florida.
thank you.
Enjoy it.
And you-
I'm
and-
sure I'll
and we-
talk to you sometime.
Yeah. And we want to see the next big golf cart.
Yeah. Sometimes I
Look,
send
I'm already-
pictures
I'm
around
like-
to the factory,
I'm
you
like
know, for
Nemo.
crazy thing. I just sent pictures around the other day. There's something down here called Talk of the Villages. There's about 150,000 people that live in the villages. It's about 85,000 homes. And each home is in immaculate condition. It's never seen anything like it. Walt Disney actually helped come up with the concept because he was friends with the developer. So it's basically a Disneyland, residential Disneyland for old people.
Oh my God.
That'll
but,
do.
But people share things, and this fella has a Ring doorbell, and he saw that it recorded something during the night, and he played it back, and about an 8-foot alligator walked right up to his front door, and it shows the alligator standing there and walking right up to the door and turning around and going out. But what was funny, he's watching it, and he's saying, "Oh, this is pretty interesting." And his wife came down and saw the alligator, you know, on the TV screen and started screaming. So it was cute, but I knew there's alligators down here, but I hadn't seen any quite that big. And this was
That's
actually
crazy.
walking
You didn't know they were that close?
down
That's
the,
crazy.
you know,
They roam around at night.
yeah. So they must come out at night because there's so many lakes down here, right? I'm not right at a lake, and I'm glad, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
just for that reason. And they say, don't let your pets out at night. You know,
Yeah.
things
Like that's
like
their
that.
night
I don't know
security.
you would
Look at
now.
that.
So there's always something interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was our pleasure.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks
All
for your time.
Okay,
Yes,
take
thank
care.
you.
All right, talk to you
Take care.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.